Step into a Viking longhouse in the dead of winter, and you would have seen a roof that had weathered decades of icy storms, heavy snow, and relentless rain. Yet the timber remained solid, resisting rot in ways that modern roofs often fail to achieve, even after a decade. These ancient builders weren't lucky. They had mastered a series of clever, subtle techniques that protected their timber from moisture and decay, without relying on modern sealants or synthetic materials. Today, we'll uncover the methods Vikings used to make roof timber survive the harshest elements, and how you can apply this knowledge to protect modern wood structures. Subscribe to Echoes of Valor now, because this knowledge can save your timber from the slow, silent destruction that weather imposes. Vikings started by choosing the right timber for the job. They preferred slow-grown oak, pine and spruce, selecting pieces with tight growth rings and naturally high resin content. This dense timber was naturally resistant to water penetration, insect damage and fungal growth. Additionally, they oriented the wood carefully, placing the heartwood, the most stable and rot-resistant part, toward the areas of greatest exposure to snow and rain. Modern builders often overlook timber selection, using mass-produced lumber with higher moisture content and faster growth rings, which is more susceptible to warping and decay. Using dense, seasoned timber today, and orienting it so the heartwood faces the most exposed areas, can replicate this ancient resilience. Roof pitch and design played a central role in protecting timber. Viking roofs were steeply angled, which allowed snow and rain to shed quickly, preventing long-term water saturation. The steep pitch also reduced the amount of direct sunlight that hit the timber, moderating temperature fluctuations that could otherwise cause micro-cracks. Modern low-pitched roofs often trap water and ice, creating prolonged wet conditions that accelerate rot. Even minor adjustments to pitch and overhangs in modern construction can reduce moisture exposure and prolong the life of timber. Ventilation was a subtle but critical factor. Vikings understood that trapped air beneath roof boards could hold moisture and accelerate decay. They incorporated open eaves, ridge gaps, and ventilated battens to allow air to circulate naturally, carrying heat and moisture away from the timber. This passive airflow kept the wood dry, even in freezing conditions, preventing condensation from forming inside the structure. Modern roofs often rely on impermeable membranes that can trap moisture and heat, inadvertently creating conditions that weaken timber. Installing ridge vents, soffit vents, or ventilated battens can recreate this natural drying process, keeping timber safe from ice and moisture damage. Joinery techniques further protected timber. Vikings employed mortise and tenon joints, scarf joints, and pegged connections, which allowed the wood to move slightly with seasonal expansion and contraction without cracking. Unlike rigid nailing used in many modern constructions, these flexible joints prevented stress points that could let water seep in. Incorporating flexible joinery or allowing small, deliberate movement in modern timber connections can reduce stress-related cracking and the risk of rot. The spacing and layering of roof boards were intentional. Boards were staggered and overlapped to distribute weight evenly and minimize pressure points. This prevented heavy snow or ice from concentrating on a single beam, which could create cracks or force moisture into joints. Today, staggering boards or ensuring even load distribution, even with modern sheathing, can replicate this protective principle. Vikings also employed natural surface treatments to prolong timber life. They sometimes applied linseed oil, pine tar, or even a thin layer of moss beneath the thatch to regulate moisture and slow down rot. These materials allowed the timber to breathe while offering protection from, constant precipitation. Modern builders can use breathable coatings, oils, or natural barriers to achieve similar moisture management, avoiding synthetic sealants that trap water inside the wood. Maintenance and observation completed the system. Roofs were regularly inspected, and damaged boards or misaligned thatch were replaced before moisture could compromise the timber. Minor adjustments ensured that ventilation channels remained clear and weight distribution stayed balanced. Today, periodic inspections, especially after heavy snowfall or storms, can prevent small issues from escalating into, structural damage. Applying these lessons today is both practical and cost-effective. Start with dense seasoned timber, oriented so the heartwood faces the most exposed areas. Design roofs with adequate pitch and overhangs, and integrate passive ventilation using ridge and soffit vents. Use flexible joinery to allow movement, stagger boards for even load distribution, and apply breathable natural coatings. Finally, maintain the roof with regular inspections and minor adjustments. These steps, drawn directly from Viking wisdom, can protect timber against snow, ice and rain for decades. If this guide has given you insight into how Vikings made timber survive the harshest conditions without rot, subscribe to Echoes of Valor and share this video with fellow history enthusiasts, builders, or anyone interested in preserving wood for the long term. Ancient strategies like these aren't just history, they're practical, enduring solutions for modern roofs.